What if I told you that Ferrari has found a way to turn a historic disadvantage into its secret weapon for 2026? Can a simple change of material in the engine make the difference between winning and remaining promising? But reality soon disproved the optimism. From the first run, the SF25 showed worrying inconsistencies. While the car had speed in certain sections, it lacked overall balance. Its behavior was erratic in fast corners, unpredictable in mixed conditions, and extremely sensitive to tire degradation. Added to this were errors in execution in the pits, tactical decisions that bordered on the inexplicable, and internal communication that, far from having been strengthened with the arrival of Hamilton, seemed still in the process of restructuring. Hamilton, in his first statements after the debacle in Australia, admitted that he underestimated the learning curve with Ferrari. Despite his vast experience, he needed time to understand the car, and the car was not yet completely adapted to his style. On the other hand, Leclerc, already familiar with the team's strengths and weaknesses, was frustrated by the SF25's inability to maintain consistent performance over the course of a race. On more than one occasion, balance issues and lack of traction exiting slow corners ruined weekends that were starting out promising. In the paddock, rumors began to revolve around a single question: had Ferrari made another misconception with its 2025 car? While McLaren capitalized on every opportunity, and Mercedes showed signs of recovery with George Russell and the young Antonelli, Ferrari seemed stuck in a repeat narrative. Promises of improvement, innovations that did not work, a potential that never fully crystallized. But in the midst of this sporting storm, a small group within Maranello was already working with a vision for the future. Instead of focusing all their resources on saving a season that was beginning to falter, some engineers led by Enrico Galtieri and his engine team were already drawing up a radical strategy. It was not about rescuing the present, but about conquering tomorrow. And that strategy revolved around a disruptive idea: transforming the way Ferrari conceived of its power unit. Because if anything had been clear in 2025, it was that continuing to do the same would not restore their glory. For decades, Formula One engine design has revolved around one almost unbreakable principle: maximizing the power-to-weight ratio. The use of ultralight materials such as aluminum in cylinder heads became standard for an obvious reason: reducing mass was equal to gaining performance. But in Maranello, behind closed doors, Ferrari decided to question that principle just when the 2026 technical regulations opened a new opportunity. With the minimum weight of power units increased from 120 to 150 kilograms, the pressure to save grams on each component decreased drastically. And it was in that void where Ferrari opted for the unthinkable, replacing aluminum with a special steel alloy in the most critical part of the engine. This change is not minor. Cylinder heads withstand the most extreme temperatures and pressures within an internal combustion engine. With traditional materials, there are very strict physical limits on how much you can squeeze the fuel mixture without compromising the integrity of the block. Steel, however, lasts longer. A lot more. Its thermal and structural resistance allows the engine to operate at significantly higher combustion pressures, which directly translates into greater energy efficiency and therefore greater specific power per liter of fuel consumed. In the hybrid era of 2026, where power flow limits will become even stricter, this efficiency could make the difference between leading races or settling for second place. The other big advantage is durability. The new regulations limit only 4 heat engines per driver during a calendar that extends to 24 Grand Prix weekends. This means that each unit must withstand almost 6,000 kilometers of running at maximum demands without failure. Here, steel doesn't just survive, it thrives. Aluminum, although lighter, suffers microscopic deformations due to continuous thermal cycles. This generates loss of compression, microcracks, and, eventually, mechanical failure. With steel, Ferrari can build engines that maintain their performance specifications for a greater number of races, with less degradation of critical components and without the need to operate conservatively. But the most brilliant thing about this move is how it redefines the philosophical approach to the design of a Formula One engine. Leclerc, when asked by Italian media about the tests carried out in January, was cautious but hinted at something revealing: "We have never had such consistency of power delivery in long runs. There is something different this year." Hamilton, for his part, spoke from experience. When you push the limit lap after lap and the car doesn't break down, that's when you know you have something special. It's not just about power, it's about how the car responds when you push it to the extreme. Both drivers, without needing to go into technical details, were pointing exactly to the heart of the change. Steel was allowing a more aggressive engine map, with less thermal penalty and greater stability in race conditions. At an operational level, the change has also generated advantages in other, not-so-obvious aspects. The new steel head acts as a more efficient heat sink, which allows the car's cooling to be redesigned and, consequently, to optimize the rear aerodynamics. Less need for large radiators translates into narrower side pods, cleaner airflow to the diffuser, and a direct improvement in the car's performance in fast corners. What began as a technical decision within the engine department has ended up positively affecting the overall design of the car. It's a domino effect that Ferrari is capitalizing on like no one else. And all of this, it should be noted, was developed in complete secrecy, with the collaboration of AVL, an Austrian firm with decades of experience in simulation of high-performance hybrid engines. 4 months, Ferrari operated 2 parallel development lines. One with aluminum heads to meet the immediate demands of the 2025 season, and another experimental with steel focused on hidden tests for 2026. The definitive validation only came in January, when the data stopped being simulations and became concrete figures on the track. Ferrari hasn't just created a more robust engine. It is betting on an engine architecture that redefines the parameters of efficiency, durability, and thermal performance in modern Formula One. In a sport where each team searches for the tenth of a second that separates it from the rest, Ferrari could have found not a tenth, but a full second of advantage, hidden in the heart of its power unit. In terms of career strategy, this translates into freedom. Instead of worrying about managing internal temperatures or protecting the engine with changes of pace, Ferrari can dictate the pace of the Grand Prix from the first lap. You can force undercuts without fear of tiring the unit, lengthen stints to better position yourself in safety cars, or simply maintain a sustained pace without accelerated internal degradation. Leclerc and Hamilton not only gain speed, they gain tactical tools that allow them to attack from new positions on the track, even when the car does not start from the front rows. But the impact doesn't stop there. At a development level, this more solid mechanical base frees up technical resources in other areas of the car. If the engine does not need so many interventions, Ferrari can concentrate its upgrade tokens on aerodynamics, suspension, or hybrid system. And here a powerful synergy appears. A longer-lasting engine also means fewer grid penalties. In a 24-race season, avoiding a single unscheduled power unit change can mean up to 10 positions ahead on circuits where overtaking is nearly impossible. This consistency also has repercussions in the Constructors' Championship. While other teams will have to compromise performance to maintain reliability or adapt their approach to different track types, Ferrari could maintain a more stable performance curve. In an increasingly demanding calendar, where the margin between the first and fourth teams can be reduced to a few points, operational stability becomes as critical a competitive advantage as pure speed. And all this reinforces the team's internal narrative. For the first time in years, Ferrari has a plan that doesn't revolve around emergency fixes or temporary solutions. It has a long-term vision, built on bold decisions and an engineering philosophy that dares to go against the grain. This is reflected in the team's morale. Hamilton has acknowledged in interviews that the technical direction is the clearest I have seen since I have been in F1. Leclerc, although always more reserved, has spoken of an unprecedented connection between what we drivers need and what is being developed. The message is strong. Ferrari does not simply want to compete. He wants to lead a new era. And if their bet on steel proves as effective as the data suggests, not only could they dominate in 2026, they could set a new technical standard that will take years for other teams to replicate. Ferrari has been pursuing a goal for years that seems to slip away every time it is about to reach it, to once again be the dominant team in Formula One. But this time, something is different. It is no longer a simple aerodynamic update or a star driver who promises to change the team's destiny single-handedly. What is happening in Maranello is a structural, profound, and, above all, strategic transformation. The commitment to an engine with steel heads is not only a technical innovation, it is a declaration of intent. An unmistakable sign that Ferrari is willing to break the rules of the game if it means regaining the throne that once rightfully belonged to it. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.